Good evening. I'm Teresa Cinquina and I work for the association Pro Terra Sancta. And I'm delighted to be here this evening with you all on the occasion of this meeting with Father Firas Lutfi, Minister of the Sample region and responsible of the project A Name and the Future. Well, this meeting is part of a series of meetings launched by Association Pro Terra Sancta since the beginning of the COVID emergency, in order to offer the opportunity to listen to first-hand from the Holy Land, especially from the suffering Syria. As Pro Terra Sancta, we are committed to foster bonds between the Holy Land and the world, especially mainly through carrying out projects to preserve holy places, support local communities, and bring aid to humanitarian emergency wherever the Franciscan friars of the custody of the Holy Land are. But also through initiatives like this. This evening, this is something that is happening today, meeting Father Firas, because through his words, we are like more involved, we could feel more involved in what is happening in Syria and become nearer to the communities living there. Well, before asking questions to Father Firas and talking about Syria and the project A Name and the Future, I want to share with you a short video which helps to immerse ourselves in what is the situation and to better understand the crucial role of this project in the eastern part of Aleppo. So let's go with the video and then we will talk. Well, after watching this video, well, it's quite difficult to accept the fact that Syria and its population have disappeared from news and mass media. Above all, at this time that a new round of sanctions have been imposed by United States and European Union against Syria. We know it's quite clear that the aim is the government, but while the truth is that who is suffering most is the population. So now I prefer leave you in better hands. So Father Firas, please, it would be great if you could shortly introduce yourself and tell us how is the situation in Syria and who are the most vulnerable there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for all our followers this evening. Thank you because you decide to open this window in Middle East, especially in Syria, in the destroyed and completely damaged city of Aleppo. I'm Father Firas, Franciscan friar from the Holy Land, from the custody of Holy Land. Actually, I'm the Minister of Region St. Paul, that is a large area of Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. This new job allowed me to visit it and to take care of the fraternity, the Franciscan, 30 Franciscan present in all that geographic area. I'm talking with you directly from Aleppo. I'm visiting after 3 months of quarantine in Lebanon. Finally, I could come and visit our brothers and sisters, and especially following the project started a few years ago, a case of the trouble war still in act in Syria. So the recent war and conflict in Syria until the beginning of 2010 caused a lot of damage and psychical and humanitarian destruction. In about 1/3 of the houses and about half of the medical and educational establishments, infrastructures are legal systems which are necessary to the society to continue life. After 9 years of destructive war, the effects were revealed at all levels, especially at the family level. The disintegration of families resulting from the effects of war began. The impact of the war was also evident on the increase in violence in all its forms, especially in the areas where children and women lived with terrorists. We are talking about the project Name and Future. We have to think about East Aleppo, the most damaged and destruct in all around city. So we have to take care of families, entire families remaining in the city of Aleppo after 9 years of war. Women also, not only the children, use it to do similar jobs such as selling bread on the streets just to survive, beginning or working in workshops for long hours, and some had to illegal marriage with armed men just to get a protection. This resulted in children of unknown descent and those who lived the war. The persecution experienced by women resulted in man-like women, children of minor and unmarried mothers, and many with psychological trauma. Based on the mission of the Franciscan fathers in Syria, in Lebanon, and in Jordan, but especially in Syria during the war, we try to provide assistance and aid to the others and to promote love, recovery, and peaceful coexistence. The One Name and One Future program was started to provide a variety of services according to the needs of this region. We will briefly highlight the mechanism of the program. Please allow me to introduce you to the field covered in these centers. The program was launched on 1st November 2018 in the areas of Al-Sha'ar and Al-Do'do, were more affected to war, and terrorists had a control in that area and on the people there remain. Two centers in East Aleppo, each one provides two following different services: educational services, literacy for women, early education for kindergarten aged 5 to 6 years, basic education for school dropouts aged 8 to 12 years, English and French learning, educational and awareness services, various awareness sessions, health, medical, social, and artistic workshops for women and children, psychological support sessions offered to women, children, and men according to their needs, child protection sessions offered to women and children, gender-based violence sessions offered to all age groups, legal support services, and this is a particularity of this project, to provide to unregistered children where the mother is assisted in providing the necessary financial support to register the child and obtain an identity. Hence the name of the program, One Name and One Future. We have had an experience to register more than 63 children. Special care services for children with disabilities, autism, mental disorders, and language disorders. Physical therapy services to provide the following for children and adults who were affected by the war trauma, and that caused them dysfunction, and children who need physical therapy session such mutilation. Medical services also, including medical examination of children by a pediatrician and adults. Vocational support program for ladies. Let's imagine that in this war, majority of men are died, and the woman still in life, and she had to take care about her children. So ladies are learning different skills to start a career by which they can start earning their living, weaving, handcrafts, soup making, cooking, and other works. The previous services are carried out by a team specialized. Literacy sessions for women to obtain a certificate approved by the state to secure employment opportunities in the future. The number of people working in both centers are 50 persons. We are trying to spread, to enlarge the benefit to the widest possible segment of the population, providing our services to 7,432 people, with approximately 10,000 people on the waiting list. And during this current COVID-19 lockdown, we have distributed also food boxes, alimentary and hygiene packages for the locals, in addition to financial aid for the elderly and those who do not have support. This is briefly what we are doing and what was the reason of burning of this beautiful and necessary project in East Aleppo, Name and Future.
Thank you, Father Firas. While I was listening to you, I had a question. You mentioned about distribution to elderly people, to like that you spread the action, the help that you give from you bring from the centers. But I would like to ask you why this happened in this period. You know that we know that in Syria also there were COVID cases, that people that restrictive measures were imposed also in Aleppo, for the fact that Syria is not able to respond to this need, to this emergency. So why this happened, and what you did to try to help people in this situation?
Yeah, look, that situation, the economical and financial situation, is really dramatic and really disaster in all around the country. Syria, a case of sanctions starting from the beginning of the war and nowadays with Caesar sanctions, the economical and life of every day is really heavy, and nobody can support these sanctions because it touch a normal family, a people, the poorest from the poor. So most people live on less than $1 a day. Lots of family don't have a fixed work, but they try to work day by day to take care of their children and to eat. During the COVID-19 the pandemic, the government imposed a quarantine to stay at home absolutely without exiting from home, without frequenting a school, university, and especially to work. And I heard one of the families said, I prefer to die by COVID-19 and not by hungry, because hungry is really a fact in the Syrian society after 9 years of war, not yet complete, not yet ended, and now with the new emergency of coronavirus. So thanks God that we have friends supporting our mission here, like ATS, Pro Terra Sancta, and we can't help in what is in our possibility. Lots of family, when we distributed boxes alimentary, their people, nobody take care about them. It is a initiative from Franciscan, and to distribute not only for Christian, because already the charity started by home, but the specificity of this project and the Franciscan spirituality to take care about all human being. Name and Future started in eastern Aleppo, and that area are completely Muslims. The poorest of Muslims remaining there after long years of bombarding and destruction. And I think that who pushed us to put on this project was the pure charity. In Latin, we said, Caritas Christi urget nos. The love of Christ push us to do all the good things with our brothers and sisters, and try to go on the obstacles, the cultural, the religious, the confessions. And the beautiful thing, the amazing thing in this project, that the beginning started by the good relationship in Aleppo. As you say, as you know very well, that you came in Aleppo, you met the head of authority of Muslim community, the Mufti Mahmoud Akkam. And I think that you have a particular experience that this man, who is really a good friend of us, we talk about the problem in Syria, and what we can do, what we can offer to the poorest remaining in Aleppo. As a Christian, I can't go there because my presence in area where all together are Muslims, it could be considered as a proselytism. Enforce people, Muslim people, to be Christian. But this is not our objective. So, in collaboration with the Muslim Authority, Mahmoud Akkam, and the friendship between Mahmoud Akkam and our bishop, starting also during the war, because when the bombarding was really hard on the people, the Islamic Authority has recovery houses for handicapped, for children and women, about 150. And one day, the bombarding was really intensive, and they had to escape immediately into 24 hours. And they tried to find a place for protection. And our bishop, George Abu Khazen, he is the head of the Latin community, Latin Christian community, offered hospitality for more than 1 year. That is the basic friendship between Christian and Muslims. Look, we can't see in the Muslims just who is different from our religions, but we are seeing just God image and likeness. We accepted him that he is our brother and sister in humanity. And the experiences of every day teach us that we can go on to the different obstacles and different mind thinking and cultural background. We can also discover the richness in the others, the beauty and the kindness. This is my experience. Our team work in Eastern Aleppo are Christian and Muslims. So this experience give me really and teach me lots of things. So this is briefly what I can and what I want to talk about this project.
Thank you, Father Firas. When you talk about your relation with Mufti Mahmoud Akam and Bishop Monsignor Abu Khazen, it seems like easy, like natural, but you know that it's not so common, the fact that people belonging to different religious and cultural background work together. As you mentioned, I was really impressed 2 years ago when I met you with the Mufti, that is the highest Islamic authority in the city. I was really impressed by the openness and the attitude the Mufti had, not only towards the project, that you were working for helping Muslim children and Muslim women, but also towards your collaboration. I always remember when he said that people acting for evil, even though they belong to the same religious background, they finished up to be divided and fighting each other. Instead, people who are acting or working for the truth, belonging to different cultural and religious background, find themselves united and in a common path towards a better future. And it's something that is happening, and I think that it's important to underline, to highlight this characteristic, because it's not you're not only helping people, but you are also changing. I think that you could change also, and you bring help to the society living in Aleppo. It's not and in Aleppo and then to Syria and the Middle East. You are like having the possibility to show the fact that this is possible, and it's not so common to see, to be testimony of this thing. So I now we can start to a moment for Q&A. So please, I tried to pick some on chat, and please feel free to write them on it. The first question is, are you able to carry out activities during lockdowns? Father Firas, sorry.
Yes, the difficulty is concrete, and the challenge is really, and the risk to touch people and to stay beside people in time of pandemic is a big risk. But I assure you that I experimented the joy of our teamwork when they go in Eastern Aleppo carrying all food and hygiene materials and distributed it for the poorest of the poor. And this joy and this love, this scene of love, give them this push and help them to overgo the fear, the natural fear. Unfortunately, nowadays in society of Aleppo, we discover a lot of injured and person with pandemic. I can't describe the fear of people who survived to 9 years of war, and somebody is sad because he said, unfortunately, I am maybe take the wrong decision to remain in country. Maybe it was good for me and for my children to escape and to find another playground, another land, etc. I touch this not courage, not serenity in people, but these small thing that we can do, it could give a hope. It could give more hope and courage to continue also inside in the pandemic in coronavirus.
Yes, thank you. Well, there is another question, but we are go back to the question about Muslims and Christians. And this is Rocio that asked, I heard about a law that forces orphans to register as Muslims, also if they belong to other religions. Could you tell us more about it, please? So,
Yes, you know that the law in Islamic law, the adoption is forbidden by law. But Mufti Akkam elaborated an theological system basic on the teaching of Quran, that everyone can adopt a child and give him his name and his last name. It is a creativity in all around the Islamic world. It could give chance to the child to take a name meaning an identity, because without identity, nobody has a future, nobody can have a job and to open medio or micro economy. So this elaboration theology, I hope that could be known in all around the Islamic world. As you see that Dr. Mahmoud Akkam is open mind, and he is really a big theologian in the Islamic world. He's a big expert in theology, and he elaborate a new system not existed before. The next question may be if a Christian family can adopt a child. For a moment, it is not possible. But maybe after another dialogue, after a time, maybe the possibility will be open and legal. For a moment, is not possible.
okay. So, while we wait for new questions, I have one. If you want to share with us, a story, a person, a family, a woman that, give you hope about the fact that you were really in a path towards a better future. you know, you start in something, and sometimes you need to see what you are doing is changing the life of someone that we are helping. Like, so if you have an example, maybe it would be useful.
Yes.
To see.
2 days ago, I was in Eastern Aleppo and visited families with big troubles and problems. And one lady who frequented our center, um, before she can't read and write, and I asked her when I met her in classroom, how is the situation? She told me, you know, you offer me a light. I can read. I can understand what I can read. And I said her with joke, can you chat on on Messenger or on WhatsApp? And she said, yes, sure. I can communicate with my friend in Lebanon or in another place. And she insists to continue this process of learning. And for me, and she said another thing interesting, that nobody nowadays can stop our energy to increase our love for life, because we passed darkness. Under the jihadist controls, everything was forbidden: to exit and to work and to feel as a woman free. So my hope from eyes of this lady, full of joy, full of life, full of hope, that everything, the change is already possible. And this is fulfill my heart of joy, because our centers can realize something good for others. The aim of the objectives that push us to open the centers there in Eastern Aleppo could produce a theme of love and hope.
Thank you. Like, there is another question, but I think that you a bit already answered. Like, why is this project so important for the future of Syria, and what would happen without to the children, without this project to the children? So,
Yes,
if you want
look
to,
that Syria is a place that everything is destroyed, not also the houses, the structures and infrastructures, but also the oldest humanitarian heritage. Syria is from the oldest country in all around the world. But especially the aim, the objective, the challenge of these centers is to not repeat the same thing with the child that their parents are realized in past, to not repeat the terrorist experience, to violent experience. If we don't interview and we act immediately to help them, those children injured by their souls, um, by mutilation and violence, they can in future being another terrorists. So our centers is to stop the culture or this culture of violence and terrorism, and to create new future for Syria. Future based on coexistence between Muslims and Christian, future based on joy, hope, and good. So our mission, I think, to build not the stones, but the persons, the child and woman remaining in Eastern Aleppo. And this is maybe a big challenge, because very easy to put on structures, stones, etc. But the most important and difficult thing, to rebuild persons, child and women affected by trauma and many troubles a case of bombarding, violence, and stress. This is, I think, briefly the objective and challenge of a necessity to create that reality in Eastern Aleppo, to build bridges, not walls, bridges of dialogue, coexistence, uh, peace living, and not walls and obstacles between human beings. And this is what Saint John Paul II calls on our memory. Try to build a bridges. And this is not so easy. It requires time, energy, and many persons who believe in that objectives. And we believe already as a Franciscan that life is more hard, life is more powerful of violence, of destruction.
Yes. About violence, another question is how much violence is present in everyday life now that maybe the bombings are stopped in the city and so on, and among neighbors. This is interesting. Is there the same trust like before the war? So
Yeah,
you
look, that the violence is not a case of bombarding. Now we are suffering about the violence of sanctions because you can escape from bombarding, from airplane, and from a bomb, but you can't escape when sanctions touch your food, your water, your electricity, your life of every day, your skills life. So I think that now we are we have to uh, to try to escape and to live with another kind of war, economical and financial war, a case of before 9 years ago, the sanction of European and America, but nowadays with Caesar sanctions. It is, sorry to say, it is crime against humanity, because it touch and it could put big trouble, and literally you can find people who dying by hungry, and this is not a human being, not according the um, uh, human dignity and human being. It is a big trouble, and it is really crime against humanity because it caused suffering, pain, and violence, because everybody, every child, every woman and man had a right to live with joy, to eat every day, to work, etc. But with these sanctions, unfortunately, nobody can afford to live one day without preoccupation and suffering and worried about how can I eat, how can found food, water, and future for my children.
Yes, absolutely. But another question is, among neighbors, there is the same trust like before the war. How, like, you are work, as you said, no, I can't go alone or can go only with Muslims and I could be accused of proselytism, etc. But what are you doing? Are changing the trust among people there, among the communities inside the city.
Look, that Christian and Muslims are living together since 1,600 years. Already in the past, in the history, there was misunderstanding or some troubles, but usually they staying together, working together, studying in university, in schools together. So we know each other's. We accepted the difference between our religions, our cultural background. Now, let me put a difference between religion and extremism and fanatism. Religion teaching to live together and respect each other. Fanatism is one color. You are with me or against me. If you are against me, you have to leave country or unfortunately to be killed. So as you know that the teaching of Mahmoud Akkam, the head of Islamic community, is really a moderate Islamic theology. And we believe that religion help people to live and to build the new future for Syria. We have to believe in the basic teaching of Gospel, Quran, and also Torah if there is Jews in society. So religion basically teach us open mind to accept the difference, to love each other, and not to exclude or eliminate the other because he is different. So it is important to have a difference between religion and fundamentalism and fanatism. Religion help, fanatism not help. And what is the arms against fanatism? The education, learning, practically what we are doing in our centers, help young generation to have a future of hope and to development their skills life, and to support also the ladies who has maybe 4 or 5 childs, to take care about them and to not repeat the darkness and the bad past that they experimented with violence under jihadist and terrorist control.
Yes. No, absolutely. Above all, about education, there is one of our listeners that ask, is there any help we may bring from our university and education level? I belong to the Department of Arabic Studies and could apply for a project. Maybe our student could go there to help out. But I don't know if you can answer now if there is the possibility to go to Syria, because it's quite complication, but it's quite complicated situation. But I think it's quite important if you can, how can I say, explain us the role of the education, the importance of both women and children learning Arabic and starting like to be more educated and be involved and started their scholar path.
Look, that in that region, unfortunately, it was also without a cultivation of culture and schools, etc. So during the war, lots of schools, also hospitals, was bombarding. So the children, the kids that the child that frequented our centers, the majority are not frequented the schools. So we created a particular and a specialist program study to recover that long years without an teaching. And now we are just starting 2 years ago, but the challenge is open for all entire people presented there. The educational is a big challenge because it is like create a new mentality, like to building a structure, but with enforce all energy and create also and give them possibility to auto-maintain themselves, not to have a kind of assistantialism. It is very easy to distribute it all days, boxes alimentary. But the most important thing, support that people that themselves can do some things. Maybe offer them jobs, opportunity to cultivate some skills, like the woman just few minutes mentioned that they are working and learning to do soup making or another life skills to help them to support their children. So the educational is a big challenge, but we just started, and to continue what we are doing, we need really support and more effort.
Absolutely. So, well, if there are not any other questions, I would like to thank you, Father Firas. Thank you for our listeners for their participation and their questions. As Father Firas has explained, Syria, especially the children there and the children in Eastern Aleppo, are in great need. So, if you are interested in supporting his mission, then you may find all details on slide I'm gonna share. And as you can see, for further information, you can contact me on my email address, and to support Father Firas and the Forgotten Children of Aleppo, you can use these bank details. You know, as Father Firas said, as the woman Father Firas met said, that they don't want to stop to their love for their life. No, anyone and anything could do that. So we would like to give them, to be with them in this love of this life. So thank you for our listeners. Thank you, Father Firas, for your touching words and for having been here with us and telling us about Syria and the project Enable Future. I would like also to add the thing that there will be other events like this, because we think that is a useful means for people to be involved, to be more involved, to be nearer and closer to you. And so thank you for all, and we'll see in another occasion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me also, in a few seconds, thank you, Teresa, for this meeting. Thank you also for Giacomo and all our followers. Pardon, maybe internet something is not going correctly, because we are in Aleppo in the middle of war. But thanks God, thank all together who is supporting also our mission, in particularly Pro Terra Sancta Association. Thank you. God bless you, and all greetings from the city of Aleppo. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Have a